What's going on, J Squad? Welcome back to the bunker. I'm your man, Sergeant J Max. With me, as always, is Sergeant Jernome. What's going on, Sergeant? How was the weekend? Outstanding. Yes, sir. We got a big win yesterday. Go Rams. So today, guys, I wanted to bring a video for those out there in the two-way community or YouTube space that are thinking about buying a handgun, and give you some tips and some ideas of things that you can do and look for, and then what you can do after you purchase the handgun, so that way, you know, you're as safe as you can be after you purchase your first handgun. One of the first things I would suggest is to familiarize yourself with the 4 universal handgun rules, and those are: always treat your handgun as if it's loaded, always keep it pointed in a safe direction, never put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot or destroy, and always be aware of your surroundings and what's beyond it when the event rises where you do have to shoot your gun, more so in a self-defense situation, even at the range, but more so in a self-defense situation. Anyway, guys, so familiarize yourself with those rules, because that's going to help you out in the long run. It's also, if you live in an area where you have to get a firearm safety certificate or anything like that, you know, memorizing those rules and familiarizing yourself with those rules not only going to keep you safe, but other people around you as well. Now, as far as, you know, when you decide what kind of handgun you want to purchase, you know, you want to decide between a revolver, semi-automatic, you know, how big do you want the gun to be, what size caliber do you want the gun to be, you know, if it's going to be for self-defense, if it's going to be for protection, if it's going to be for home, protecting your home, whatever the case may be. So have a defined reason for wanting to purchase a handgun. Don't just go out and buy a handgun because your friends have them, or, you know, somebody said you should get one, but you don't really know whether or not you should, why you should, whatever the case may be. Make sure you have a defined reason for wanting to get a handgun, because again, it's going to translate to topics that I'm going to discuss later on in the video. So once you decide what kind of, you know, pistol you want to buy, again, whether it's a revolver, whether it's a, you know, semi-automatic, the size and caliber that you want to get, the other suggestion I would make would be go to a local gun range in your area. They have a wall of guns that you can go in there and you can shoot multiple calibers. I'm not sure how low the caliber might go. I don't know if you'll be able to get a 22 or a 25 or even a 380 for that matter. But you can go in there, you can ask, you can call ahead, you can find out what type of calibers they have available to shoot. And then that way that can kind of help you in your process of deciding what size handgun do you want to get. The next step I would suggest would be deciding what size handgun do you want to get. Do you want to get, you know, a small 38, which is still a pretty powerful caliber? Do you want a 9mm? Do you want a 380? Do you want a 22? So these are all things that you need to take into consideration when you're thinking about what type of handgun do you want to buy. Now, you know, handguns go from very small, about 3.1 inches, 3 inches, maybe even less, all the way up to 5 or 6 inches in length. And, you know, again, all of that's going to, you know, factor into what type of gun that you want to have, what type of gun you'll be able to manage, what type of gun will you be able to manage the recoil on. And not only that, enjoy shooting, because if you don't enjoy shooting the gun, you're not going to train with it. You're not going to use it. You're just going to buy it and it's going to sit into a box, or sit in a box, go into a closet and collect dust. And it's going to defeat the whole purpose of having a gun or buying a gun in the first place, because guns are it's a very expensive hobby to get into. And even if you only have one, just the simple fact of training with the gun can be somewhat expensive, but I'll get into that later on as well. Now, once you go to the range and you pick out a few guns and you shoot, you know, a few guns, do some research in the meantime. Go on YouTube. There's plenty of videos out there, including some on my channel, that discuss different guns, different types of guns, how they shoot, things of that nature. But when you first buy a gun, obviously you're going to get it and it's going to be in a stock configuration. What I mean by stock configuration is it's just really going to have, you know, iron sights which are the front and rear sight posts on the pistol itself. It may or may not be optic ready. And again, most of the YouTube videos that you're going to see are a lot of guys that have already, fit different accessories onto their guns: triggers, barrels, red dots, tactical lights, all of that stuff. But all that stuff is going to come later on in your journey as to outfitting the gun the way that you want it to look. Now, I would suggest, if you're going to watch videos on guns, look at videos of guns in their stock configuration. That means without any upgrades, maybe a pistol light at the most, but watch the videos that are going to show the gun in its stock configuration, because when you go to the range and shoot the gun, that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be in a stock configuration. It's not going to be tricked out with a red dot or a weapon light or a better trigger or a match grade barrel or anything like that. So take that into consideration when you're looking at doing your research on what type of gun do you want to buy. Now, the other thing that I would suggest after you go to the range and decide which gun you're going to buy, and you start looking at pistols to buy, for those of you that are budget minded or budget conscious, you want to take into consideration the training aspect of owning a gun. How often are you going to be able to go to the range and shoot the gun? Are you going to factor in, ammo purchases into your gun? Because again, you will need to buy training ammo and you will need to buy defensive ammo. And the biggest difference between the two is training ammo is most of the time going to be FMJ, which is full metal jacket, and your defense ammo is going to be JHP, jacketed hollow point. Now, depending on the plus P and all of that stuff, that really depends on how much power you want that particular jacketed hollow point to have. But that's a whole other video that we can talk about later on down the line. So FMJ or training ammo is generally going to be, you're going to get more ammo for a lesser price. With your defense ammo, jacketed hollow point ammo, you're going to get less ammo for a higher price. So just kind of keep that in mind, because again, purchasing ammo for training and for self-defense purposes is something that you're going to want to factor into your overall purchase. The other thing, like I said, once you're deciding what type of gun you want to get, the biggest suggestion I could make would be to look at companies that are offering what would be a gear up package. Now, there's a few companies out there that are offering gear up packages, and what I mean by that is most of the time when you buy a gun, you're going to get, one or two, you're going to get 2 magazines with the gun, possibly 3. You might get a couple of back straps to change out the way that the gun feels in your hand, and you may or may not get a pistol bag. It just depends on the company and what they're offering. Now, with a gear up package, like Springfield Armory, like Ross Martin, like Smith & Wesson, depending on what kind of pistol you buy, and with Springfield Armory, I believe it's available on most of their pistols, in the line of pistols that they offer, from the Hellcat, the Hellcat Pro, the Echelon. I don't think it's offered on the Springfield Prodigy, but maybe they're offering a rebate where you can send something in or some information in, and they'll hook you up with some additional accessories later on down the line. But most of the time with the gear up package, you're going to get a few additional magazines, maybe up to a total of 5. You might get a couple of other accessories like a pistol bag and a range bag like you get with Springfield Armory, and you may also get a red dot. So that's going to save you some money, whereas buying a red dot or buying a pistol with a gear up package that comes with a red dot, that's going to save you an additional anywhere from, a couple $100 to a few $100 later on down the line as far as adding a red dot to your pistol. So some companies, like I said, they do offer, gear up packages where you're going to get those additional accessories, and it's going to give you more bang for your buck. Whereas you're paying so much just for the pistol and a couple of magazines and a pistol bag, if that's the case, or a case, whatever the case may be. With a gear up package, you're going to get those additional accessories, and it's going to save you some money in the long run. So one more thing I wanted to add for all the YouTube looky-loos out there that are monitoring the videos: any of the stuff that I'm discussing in this video, I bought it with my own money. I'm not sponsored by any companies or corporations. I'm not putting any of this any of these items up for sale. I'm just discussing what's available out there for those that are looking to purchase their first handgun, and some safety items and other items that they may look into purchasing once they make their first handgun purchase. And again, if any of you out there are enjoying this content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe. Put some thoughts down in the video in case I miss anything. I would love to have a discussion with you guys about all of this. So back to the information. Again, I would look at a company that's offering a gear up package, because in the long run, it's going to save you money on extra magazines. It's going to save you money on maybe having to buy a red dot, and it's going to save you money on getting some kind of bag to be able to take the gun to the range, so you're not walking around with your pistol out in public. And don't walk around with your pistol out in public, because that'll get you the police called on you by somebody, you know, that doesn't know exactly the purpose or the reason why. You could just be transporting it from your house to your car to go to the range, but you want to have something that you're carrying it in, so you're not just walking around with it in your hand or whatever the case may be. But that's another part of this video that we'll get to in just a moment. So a gear up package, like I said, is really going to give you the most bang for your buck, because not only are you getting the pistol, but you're getting some additional accessories that you would have to buy later on down the line if you just bought the pistol by itself. Now, the other things that I would suggest that you look at buying, once you've decided what kind of pistol you want to get, you factored in, you know, training ammo, you know, and again, even with your training ammo, whatever range you decide to go to, there may be some fees associated with that. You know, you may have to pay a lane fee, just like when you go bowling. You got to pay for the lane. You got to pay for the targets. You might have to pay for the ammo if you don't already have some. So kind of keep all of that stuff in mind. Even when you're going to shoot for the first time, you're going to have to pay the range fee. You're going to have to, you're going to have to fill out some kind of waiver. You know, you're going to have to show some ID. Some ranges do offer memberships, which are great, because that allows you to go to the range anytime you want during their normal business hours, and you can shoot where you don't have to keep on paying the range fee every time. Most of the time you can take your own ammo. Sometimes they'll even give you one free target, or you can take your own targets. I would just check with that range to figure out what their rules are concerning all of that stuff, what type of ammo you can or can't shoot, because sometimes with some ranges, you know, you can't shoot steel case ammo. So just kind of keep those things into consideration when you're going to the range. And again, purchasing a membership with the range will save you some money in the long run, because again, that'll give you the opportunity to be able to go as often as you want and train as often as you need to, or as often as you want, so that you can get comfortable and confident, you know, building your skills with that weapon. Now, one of the other things that I would suggest that you buy when you first purchase your weapon, or not too long after purchasing your first weapon, is a gun cleaning kit. Now, these are going to be everywhere in the store that you buy. You can find them online. Amazon has them. So even if you don't get one right at the time that you buy your pistol, if you have Amazon Prime, you can get one delivered the next day or within a couple of days. So, you know, this is a kit that cleans multiple calibers of pistols. You know, it comes with the cleaning solution, it comes with the gun oil, comes with the bore I can't think of the word. Comes with the thing that you need to push the little cleaning tip down the bore so you can clean out the bore of your pistol. And then it also comes with a little brush on the side. So, you know, think about getting yourself a handgun cleaning kit. This is a universal handgun cleaning kit. Like I said, it can clean multiple calibers of pistols from 22 all the way up to 10 millimeters. So, you know, factor that into your initial purchase, or something that you're going to purchase not too long after you buy your gun. A lot of times you don't have to clean the gun before you go and shoot it the first time. Most of the guns are going to come from the factory either already having been test fired, or they're going to come oiled. So you're going to want to inspect your gun after you get it, you know, wipe down any excess oil. If you want to clean it the first initial time, you can. Or you can, like I said, take it right to the range, right out of the box, shoot a bunch of rounds through it. But you should clean your pistols periodically, you know, if not every 500 to 1,000 rounds, maybe a little bit more after that. But if you do start to notice any problems or issues with the gun, then you might want to take it apart and look at cleaning it. So in all of this, you want to be familiarizing yourself with the breakdown of your pistol. How does it come apart? What parts come out? What parts come out of the pistol? What parts need to be cleaned with the pistol? And again, you can find a lot of this information out in the YouTube space. Now, after you buy your pistol, some of the other things that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and again, all of the guns in this video are all clear. There's no bullets in any of them, so that way, the YouTube or none of you range safeties out there try to say anything to me about, having, loaded pistols or anything like that. I would suggest looking into getting something like this. Now, this is a Vaultek security box, and it comes with a little combination code. It's also battery operated. So the good thing and the bad thing about it is you do have to maintain the battery status, but it does also give you the option to put in a little 4-digit code here, so that way only you or maybe your spouse or significant other would know how to access the box. And this is one of the things that if you have kids around, you definitely want to get something like this, so that way you can lock the pistol up and you won't have any accidents that happen. And just so you guys can see, it's got these two little locking tabs on the side here. Again, it's got the combination lock, and then it opens up like this here. So in here, I've got Serena. Now this is what would be considered a compact 9mm pistol. It's a 3.7-inch length slide and barrel. And again, there is no bullet in the chamber. There's no magazine. Serena is clear. So this would be considered a compact handgun. Now, again, the gun you get initially is not going to look like this. I've added a few accessories to it, but for the purpose of this video, I just wanted to show you that this is a compact size box. So you can store your weapon in here. You could probably throw a magazine or two in here as well, and you can lock it up so that way, like I said, if you have kids, they won't be able to get to your gun and possibly do something that is really bad. The other box that I have, this is my Stopbox. And for those of you that are subscribed to the channel, you know that I'm a fan of the Punisher, but this is a larger box that you can get for a larger size handgun. It also has a combination with these buttons here at the top that you can set. It's also got this hole on the side here so that you can throw a lock on it. And then there is a little spot on here that you can tether a cable to, so that this can't be taken either out of your car, or you can tether it to something in the house so that they can't take your gun case with your gun in it. And again, this would be considered a full size box. And as you can see, I've got Sandra in here, my PSA dagger. Now this isn't a full size weapon. This is a 4-inch length slide and barrel. So it's a little bit bigger than Serena. And again, Sandra's clear. There's no bullet in the chamber, no magazine. So this is a 4-inch length slide and barrel, with a full size grip. And again, it fits in here real nice, not too big, not too little, just snug enough. And I've got a couple magazines in there. And again, this locks up as well, so you can get something like this. Now with Stopbox right now, they do have a buy one get one promotion going on. So you can get a larger box like that, and then one that's a little bit smaller. I have two of them myself. You can get one that's a little bit smaller like this size. You can get two of the compact ones. You can get two of the bigger ones. Really just depends on what you want to do. And the good thing about both of these is that they do have combinations. You can change the combination on the Stopbox to whatever configuration you want it to be. And again, you can let your spouse or your significant other know what the combination is, so that way, if for whatever reason they need to access the pistol and you're not around, they'll be able to keep themselves safe as well. Now, the other thing that you want to take into consideration maybe later on down the line is getting yourself a decent holster. Now, this is an inside the waistband type of holster that comes from We the People Holsters. And Me personally, I have my concealed carry permit, so that's why I have a holster and everything set up for my pistol. And this, guys, is Honey, my Hellcat Pro. And this was one of the first pistols that I bought. And again, this is one of those, like I said, manufacturers that comes with a gear up package. So when I bought this pistol, I got a red dot, not this one, and I got 3 extra magazines for it for a total of 5. I got a little pistol bag and I got a range bag for it. So Springfield Armoring has a really good deal in that regard, where you get some additional accessories with the pistol. Now, it's not going to come with the, light on it. It's not going to come with the combat textiles grip tape on it. These are all things that I added after the fact. And again, you guys know, Punisher backplate. But yeah, these are all accessories I added to my pistol after the fact. So yours is not going to look like this initially out of the box, but this is something that you can graduate to once you familiarize yourself with the pistol and get acclimated to shooting it. And then again, you want to make sure that your holster has retention and the pistol doesn't fall out. So again, this is inside the waistband holster from We the People's Holsters. And again, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, so I don't have a discount code that I can offer you guys or anything like that. Hopefully in the future I will, but as of right now, I do not. So anyway, Honey is again a compact handgun, 9mm, and this one is about 3.7-inch length, slide, and barrel, same as Serena, but this one has a ported barrel and a ported slide, so it does help with the muzzle flip a little bit. But again, this is an aftermarket slide and barrel combination, aftermarket green dot, aftermarket weapon light, and then the grip tape, like I said, is something that, accessories that you can all add later on down the line. It's not something that you need to do right away. But again, if you buy the gear up package with the Springfield Armory pistols, it will come with the green light and the extra magazines, as I mentioned. So that's an added bonus to purchasing that. And I have seen recently that Ross Martin has come out with what would be considered a gear up package. Come on, get back in there. Oh, put it in there. What would be considered a gear up package for their, I believe they do have one for the RM1S and the RM1C. So you'll get additional magazines. The good thing about the Ross Martin company is that they include an RMR mounting plate, since you can't directly mount optics to their slides, but they do include an RMR mounting plate when you purchase the pistol, either by itself or in this gear up package that they have. And again, with the gear up packages, you're definitely going to save some money as far as getting additional accessories that you would have to go out and buy later on down the line if you just bought the pistol by itself. So once you do all of that, the next thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that you are getting some training. Now, you can do dry fire training at home, and that is super beneficial because that's going to help you with your target alignment. That's going to help you with your trigger squeeze, and that's also going to help you work on getting a grip on your pistol. Pistols are a lot harder to master than rifles. I've said this before in many of my other videos, but a pistol or a handgun is a lot harder to master than a rifle or a shotgun. You have minimal points of contact, being just your 2 hands. So you've got your 2 hands on the pistol. So learning how to mitigate and manage recoil mostly comes from your grip and practice. So the unfortunate thing about dry fire, there are some dry fire tools out there that you can use that are going to give you some felt recoil. But again, dry fire practice is really going to help you learn how to get your target on sight, learn how to get your pistol grip, and learn how to practice your trigger squeeze, so that way your gun or your red dot isn't bouncing around too much during your dry fire practice. But you also need to get out to the range and shoot your gun through some live fire training. So that's where you need to figure out how much time are you willing to dedicate, how much effort are you willing to put into having a pistol and making sure that you gain confidence and proficiency behind that pistol. So the inside the waistband holster, again, will be something that you need to think about later on down the line if you decide to go out and get your concealed weapons permit And then once you do that, you need to decide, how are you going to carry? Are you going to carry inside the waistband? Are you going to get a fanny pack? Most of you that follow my channel, you know that I'm partial to the chest rig. So, you know, the way I have it set up is I got this little clamshell holster that came with the chest rig that I have, and I have taken the inside the waistband holster that I got with this particular chest rig, and hooked it up like this, and that way I can put this inside here and get it oriented to the way that I want to have my pistol in the bag. Pistol goes into the holster. Oh, don't want to turn the light on, but pistol goes into the holster here. And this is how I carry every day. So guns in the bag here. And again, however you decide to carry during your training times, if you're going to carry, you want to practice draws from concealed carry, so that way you get proficient in doing that as well. But I would say get the pistol first, get some training behind the pistol, get some confidence in shooting the pistol, know the 4 universal gun rules, and then, you know, train, because again, the handgun is so much harder to master, and you may never master it, but it's so much harder to master than it is a rifle or a shotgun. But anyway, guys, those are some tips that I wanted to put out there for those of you that are thinking about getting your first handgun, and some things that you should consider once you do get your handgun, or once you decide what handgun you want to go with. Sergeant Jernome, you got anything else to add to that? Just training, lots of training. Yes, sir. Good tip. So anyway, guys, just wanted to drop this video for those of you out there that are thinking about, you know, getting your first handgun, some things that you should think about. The 4 universal gun safety rules: always treat your gun as if it was loaded. Never point your gun in a direction or at anything until you're ready to shoot or destroy. Always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Keep your gun pointed in a safe direction, I should say. And always be aware of your surroundings and what's beyond it in the event that you do have to fire your weapon, whether in training at a range or in a self-defense situation. But anyway, guys, that's all we got for you today. Thank you for joining us in the bunker, and thank you to all the new people that are out there in two-way space thinking about considering, you know, getting your first handgun, or some tips that you might need to take into consideration when you're getting your first handgun. If you have any ideas, or if you think I left anything out, drop a comment down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe. I'm your man, Sergeant J-Max. Thank you for joining us here in the bunker today. May God bless America. May God bless all of you. And we out.